that's my mini rack. I won't totally, well, I could show it off because I showed it off on X or Twitter, and that tweet actually blew up. I couldn't figure out, like, was my mini rack really that awesome? Or is it just that everyone that's on X right now is talking about Crowdstrike, and those are mostly IT people, and then it like actually, you know, people were actually on X to see this tweet or X or whatever it's called, this post. Anyways, that blew up. That is the mini rack that I've been working on to try and beat Raid Owl. We'll see if I got him beat. There's a lot going on in there, and it took me an extremely long time because I did not just do the physical build. I actually did the software build and everything. So I basically have a mini kind of data center, home lab, server network thing that you could pick up and drop off anywhere in the world you want, and it's going to work. So it's pretty wild and pretty fun at the same time. So that's what I've been working on. I will have that video out really soon. If not Monday, maybe Tuesday, but I hope Monday. I won't be able to swing it tomorrow. There's no way. I got too much editing and stuff to do. But anyways, so that's that. It's been super fun. I don't mean to complain, but it's been a lot of work. Like usually I don't go, you know, around 2 weeks for a video. Usually I have one about, you know, 1 or 1.5 weeks. This is going on 2 weeks since my last one, at least on my main channel. My side quest channel, that I had one there. So anyways, I'm super excited. I hope that I beat Raid Owl, but more importantly, I hope that I don't know, that you guys like it, because it was fun to build for sure. And I could just kind of open my eyes to a lot of things that I could do in the future. I have another build planned soon. But anyways, if you have something you want to share, throw it in chat. I'd love to talk about it. I'll talk about one more thing really quick. Bubbly water seems to come up a lot. People usually ask me what I'm drinking. I brought 2. So I brought 2 just in case these flavors don't last until next week. So I kind of cheated, but I already drank one, so I'll be drinking the other one. This is quickly becoming my new favorite. I just crushed this one right before the stream started. But this one right here, it's a bubbly, oh, I can't see it that good. Bubbly strawberry sunset or something. This thing is so good. It reminds me, if you ever had Kool-Aid when you were younger, there was this flavor called Strawberry Falls, and it was like my absolute favorite. Like every time we'd pick out packs of Kool-Aid, I'd ask my mom, like, can we get Strawberry Falls? Like, you got to get 2. You got to get Grape Bludini, and you got to get Strawberry Falls. And so this tastes just like Strawberry Falls used to taste and smell. So I love it. It's really good. I don't know where the strawberry sunset piece comes into it. To me, it just tastes like strawberry, and it's really good. Okay, that's that. And then here's the other one. Here's my other favorite lately that probably won't last long, and I kind of was talking about it last week, but this is the other one that I'm going to crack open here in a second. This is the orange cream bubbly. So this one is really good. But I was saying last week, like there are a few brands. There's one brand who does this right. It is Bubbly. And why does Bubbly do this right? Why does Bubbly do this orange cream right? Because it actually tastes like a push pop. Like it tastes like, you know, orange sherbet or sorbet or whatever you want to call it. It tastes like a push pop, like from the Ice Cream Man. And that's what I want it to taste like. The other ones that I've had, Waterloo, Target, even Polar, they have an orange cream, but it's like orange vanilla. And just imagine like a vanilla stick and orange at the same time. It is not what you want, at least me. That's not what I want. So anyways, this one's good because it tastes like a push pop. And again, I don't know, some of the nostalgia, like these are nostalgia flavors for me. Strawberry Falls and a push pop from the Ice Cream Man or from Kroger when we would get them there instead of the Ice Cream Man. A little cheaper at Kroger. So anyways, if you have something you want to share, throw it in chat. I'm going to start from the top and work my way down. I am going to try to keep it to roughly an hour. I started a little bit late, so I'll try to end a little bit late too. Yeah, my lights are working. I'll try to end a little bit late, and I do have to kind of stop like roughly right at an hour. Like I have to exactly stop at roughly an hour, whatever that means, just because we have a little cookout to go to, and I have some little wiggle room in between. So real quick, dude, happy Saturday, Mafney. How's it going? Thanks for the resub. 45 months. Let's go, man. Thank you so much, Mafney. Muffin, how you doing? Happy Saturday. I agree. Thanks for the continued support. Hope you're doing well. And, oh man, Racho Pon. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. That's so hard to say. Anyways, yeah, let's hop into chat and see what you guys are up to. Again, you want to share something? Throw it in. We'll talk about it. Keep it related to tech, but yeah. Yeah, if you want to share, let's talk about it. This is also my koozie. This was a gift. This koozie, from Basketful, the startup I helped build, but and worked for a while. But it's a Yeti koozie. I'm like, this thing probably costs like a ton of money. Who gets a Yeti koozie? But hey, it was a gift, and it's pretty awesome. The thing is about koozies, though, with me, like, I never have a drink long enough to keep it cool. Like, for me, I'm not a hold a drink and like talk and hold a drink. I'm like on a mission. If there is a drink open, I drink it until it's gone. Same with my water bottle. That's why I always try to keep my water bottle filled up, because if it's filled up, I will drink it until it's gone. So for me, koozies aren't really that. They're cool, don't get me wrong. But it doesn't help keep my beverage cold because I'm going to drink the whole thing in like 0.2 seconds. I guess it helps with condensation. So anyways, yeah, I'm a chugger for sure, for sure. Like it's just me. I don't know. I've never been good at saving things or holding off on things, or I don't know. My whole life, it's just like a bag of candy. I eat it till it's gone. You know, my whole plate of food, eat it till it's gone. Never any leftovers. You know, it's just how I grew up. And when it comes to drink, I just drink them till they're gone. So, but yeah. So, anyways, enough about me and my weird tendencies. Let's see what you guys are up to, and let's hop into chat. My voice is a little bit different today, because it's kind of weird. I don't know if I have a cold or what. But anyways, hey nerdy people, Jay Greentree, how you doing? Good to see you. I've been away from my desk, so I did see that he fixed the lights. Yeah, no idea. Yeah. So yes, I was having a stream today, and yes, it did fix the light. I forgot to kind of explain that one. Yeah, light's working in. This is kind of complicated, like everything else I do. But this is on the tier of complicated for me. I'd say this is about maybe a 7 or 8. I'm not going to give it that much credit. But the lights in my room are controlled by a bot. That bot lives in this Twitch channel. That bot lives in a Docker container, a Docker container that's in Kubernetes, that's at the colo, right? Not even in my house. And it needs to communicate with my Home Assistant instance. And so I wrote code for that bot to be able to chat with, make API requests to Home Assistant, which then can change the hue lights as well as those flashing lights, which are infrared. So I need a Broadlink adapter to control them. Did you follow all that? So that's what I had to fix. And I realized that when I moved Home Assistant out of my home Kubernetes cluster, I didn't make the DNS changes for one. I didn't make the firewall rule changes either. And so this morning I was like, this is it. Because I actually tried last stream. After the stream last time, I spent 2 hours and I was like, I cannot figure it out. We got to eat dinner, whatever. I'll do it later. So this morning I woke up at, about 7:30 I started. I'm like, there's no way. I'm not going to stop until I'm done. And if the stream, starts by then, that it is what it is. I ended up troubleshooting for almost 4 hours, to about 11:30. I'm like, this is insane. Like, what is going on? Turned off every firewall rule possible. I exec'd into the pod. I couldn't curl Home Assistant. I'm like, what is going on? Like, this should just work. Well, I decided to look at my VPN rules for my site-to-site VPN. I never added the subnet for the new subnet that Home Assistant is now on. So yeah, it was just like a, oh my gosh, facepalm moment. And I realized I'm like troubleshooting all these firewall rules for a subnet that isn't even being routed through the VPN. So anyways, I fixed that. And so all is good now. And so I hope I plugged all those holes back up in my firewall. So anyways, that's enough of that. They should work. I don't plan on making any changes anytime soon. So everything should just work, right? Dude, thank you so much. The Zero Sleep, Freedomidao. Whoa, it's telling me there was a name change, or maybe you did change your name or did change your names. Anyways, the Zero Sleep, dude, thanks for the gifted sub. Oh, I'm sorry. It went to Freedomidao. Enjoy your gifted sub from the Zero Sleep. That's weird. When I look at this, I see this arrow and I was like, is that a name change? No. Anyways, you gifted a sub. Dude, thank you so much. Freedom. Oh, oh my gosh. Freedom. Freedom AO. Hey, enjoy your gifted sub. Freedom DAO. Enjoy your gifted sub from the Zero Sleep. Yeah, I feel like I've had the Zero Sleep if I can't pronounce freedom. I don't. Anyways, let's move on. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's move on because I feel like an idiot now. Let's see. Almost on time today. You're getting better. I know. I have zero excuse now, except for like now the amount of things I have to turn on before I stream just keeps growing and growing. So, but yeah, it's pretty wild. Hopefully I get some things settled and I don't have to keep like turning things on before the stream because it gets really hot in here. I turn it off immediately after. So. Anyways, let's see. Hey, Techno Tim, how's it going? Greetings from Cape Town, South Africa. Way down. Ruan, how's it going? Ruan Becker, how's it going? It's good to see your face, too. Good to see your face. I see your face on Twitter, too, but you got a different avatar here, so good to see you. Thank you. Thank you from the U.S. Way down to Cape Town. How's it going? Let's see. Denabime, how's it going? Haven't seen you in a while. Do you have any experience with caching downloads for netboot XYZ? It's funny you mentioned this. Because was it yesterday or the day before? I was just researching how to customize the menu in netboot XYZ so that I could make a custom menu and then host those files here internally. So have I done it? No. I looked at the documentation and I didn't cache them per se, but I was considering making a custom boot menu to then point them to an internal web server here. So basically, I would pull those files onto my web server, and then they would be on my web server until the next time I change them. So yeah, that's maybe in the works in the future because I think I need to make part 2 to that at some point on how to make a custom menu and basically use it offline if you want because I get it. There are risks pulling that down over the internet, and maybe you want to do it offline. You know, if you're in an air-gapped situation, and so that would be nice to do. So. Anyways, I hope to soon. Good to see you. It works. Oh, yeah, that was my test. Hello, everyone. Oh, yeah. Milkshake. Oh, how did that? Oh, I didn't see the command. What is going on here? Sir Caffeine. I think that's a beaver tails. I don't know what's going on there. Laundry, food. I hear you. Yeah, laundry and food. Yeah, I need to get caught up. This thing has really put me behind on a lot of stuff. And I just have I have like so many boxes right outside my office just because like I bought so many things for this tiny rack that I need to clean them up. But I want to make sure that everything works and that I'm keeping everything before I throw those boxes out. You know how that goes. 86 Pixels, Jimmy, how's it going? Tim, absolutely love your self-host today. I built. Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. I've been working on mine this past week. Got Llama 3 working with OpenWeb UI on AMD GPUs of all the things. Yeah, thanks for the inspiration. Awesome, 86 Pixels, Jimmy. That's awesome. Yeah, I've had fun with that stack. I was just using it the other day. Yeah, I can't remember if it was yesterday or this morning because it's all kind of a blur. But it's super fun to be able to. One, I love it for like the VS Code suggestions, and then two, just being able to kind of use like. ChatGPT, kind of local, is fun. ChatGPT, their models, especially 4, are like so far, they're so advanced, but it's still, open web UI with Llama is still going to give me a great answer anyways. So most of the things I'm asking anyways are super technical. So it's like, there's a handful of solutions for what you're trying to do, and both models are going to have them. One just might have better memory and more precise and give you more options. So anyways, that's awesome. You got it working on AMD GPUs. I'm super curious about that. I've only done it on NVIDIA because that's what I have. Well, yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Denabime, what am I working on? Trying to get a job. I've been out of work for a year. Oh, that's tough. Well, I hope you find one. Hopefully the market's heating back up. We'll see, but I hope you find one. I know you're an intelligent person, and yeah, I'm sure you'll find one for sure. A year, that's a long time. Hopefully you got to, I don't know, brush up or study up on some stuff, but I hope you find one. Vermium, hey, how's it going? Vermium Seifel, hello. Quite a while ago I was here. Yeah, how are you? Good to see you. Good. Yeah, there's another name I haven't seen in a while. How you been? Scotch 16. I'm stalled out on my network rack. Lack of motivation. I've been 3D printing a bunch though. Got my Ender 5 Plus up and going again. So two things there. One, lack of motivation. I get it. I get it. I totally get it. I mean, I think we all get it, especially, kind of in the summer. If you're in the northern hemisphere, there are more things to do in the summer that don't involve like being inside next to a server rack and building it, or a network rack. So I totally get it. I've been there a few times too. Fortunately, I have many things to play with here, and so like I'll admit, for a while I was getting burnt out on my server rack in the basement because it's like I've already upgraded this thing as high as it can possibly go without like buying all new servers, So then I got into the software piece and did that for a while. Got back into networking piece, so I kind of bounce around. And now this mini rack and then things going on everywhere else. I have some things to bounce around too, but I totally get it, and that's fine. If you don't feel motivated to do something, hey, don't do it. Especially if you don't feel motivated to do a hobby, right? I assume it's your hobby, and I assume it's something you enjoy. So if you ever feel like it's a chore, you should probably stop. Because it's your time off. It's your time away from whatever your day job is, or night job, or your job in general, or whatever you do that occupies most of your day. And so things like that are a hobby to kind of take a break from other things. And if you're not getting enjoyment out of that, hey, don't do it. You have my permission. You have my permission. But 3D printing, that does sound fun. I'm still waiting on getting one. Hopefully soon. I keep saying this, but the longer I wait, the better they get. So, Jay Greentree, I saved someone from needing a new computer this weekend. Does that count? Yeah, it does. It does. So did you talk them out of buying one, or did you give them one? Or did you upgrade something for them? I'm betting it's the latter, that you upgraded them or you gave them something for free and maybe not talk them out of it. So, or maybe you did. Maybe you did. That's just as good. That all counts. Romeo, looking over to switch over to Prometheus and Grafana from using Uptime Kuma for server monitoring. All right, graduation. Yeah. It's I think it's a good skill to learn, Prometheus and Grafana. And then if you're going to replace, Uptime Kuma, you're probably going to bring in Alert Manager too, right? To actually notify and get alerted based on metrics, an uptime metric that you create in Grafana that ends up scraping stuff with Prometheus. So yeah, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of confusing. It's kind of confusing. I'll just put it there. It's confusing on how they fit together, how you get them working properly, alerts, it is. I do wish that there was an easier way. And I know that a lot of containers have made it super easy by having a metrics endpoint and stuff like that. But still, piecing it all together is still kind of tough. So I think it's awesome. It's a good skill to learn because that's what people are using everywhere outside of a lot of home stuff. Some people do use it for home too. But I think it's awesome. And then, building your dashboards, fun, but hard. It's also hard. It's you almost need to be like a dashboard designer, or you import one that someone has. But most of the time, not everyone's going to have everything you have. So, but that's awesome. I think it's a great skill to learn. I think any time you put into learning, Grafana and Prometheus, if you're doing anything like cloud native or anything like that, you'll reap the rewards later too, because I think it pays off for sure. Fandrix, hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Palace, how's it going? Hey, Tim, how's it going? Good to see you. I pinged you this morning, I think, about the TV tuner card we were talking about. Let's see. I'm going with Oi. Hi, how's it going? PC Geek, thankfully, nothing I do was affected by. Oh, yeah, that was the Crowdstrike stuff. Yeah, it's nothing I did. I wasn't affected either. Like not one bit. So I kind of feel for those who are affected by it, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, well, I mean, it sucks. It totally sucks. But I haven't used Crowdstrike. None of the companies I work for use Crowdstrike. And it sucks. It totally sucks. Yeah, I agree. It sucks to be them. it's kind of crazy for sure. I think it's the largest outage I think recorded in history. Even more than some of the DNS ones in the past. But I don't know. It's wild for sure. Melcosoft Games, all been fixed by WinPE in 15 minutes after it happened. Thanks, got. We got only 16 VMs left on CS. Hold on a second. Wait, CE, all been fixed by WinPE in 15 minutes after it happened. Okay, so you fixed it super quick after it happened. That's good. Yeah, that's good. I mean, yeah, it's just wild too. Like all the airlines and stuff like that too. I mean, yeah, I mean now, yeah. Now you can see like, this was a lot of power in the right hands. You could see what a lot of power in the wrong hands could also do too, right? So it's a good reminder for a lot of people, and it just blows my mind too. Like I've made a ton of mistakes. I've deployed stuff and I've taken down production. I've done tons of stuff. But that's me as a small company or even at a medium-sized company. But when you're, a large company in cybersecurity and you develop your own solutions, and it just seems like there were so many point of failures there that I think could have been caught. And it's easy for me and everyone else to play armchair quarterback after it happens. Hindsight is 2020. But it just tells me that they're missing a few things in their pipeline. Like CI builds, staged rollouts, QA testing. So, and again, it's easy for me to play armchair quarterback, but I would just assume that, a company like that would, have some kind of stringent rollout policy and how they did QA on their software as well as how they rolled it out. So it's just wild for me to think that it did happen, right? That it did happen. I mean, it could happen at any point in time. But with a lot of things, but it just seems weird. Like, oh, how did this even get? How did it happen at this scale? Anyways, like I said, easy for me to play armchair quarterback. I'm sure people feel bad, and and I'm sure some people are getting in trouble too for it. So, but for me, it's less about who actually wrote the code or released it, and it's more about some organizational stuff. On the engineering side that they should have some guardrails in place. And so I you could have been the one that pushed the button and released it, but if it got that far, to me, it screams something is wrong organizationally to where they need to put some more guardrails in place. And that's usually not the fault of the person who pressed go or wrote the line of code. So anyways, enough of that. Premium Sci-Fi, I'm about to give up on LOKI Promtail for a second time again. Can't get Promtail to extract values from SSH logs into variables. Yeah. I know what you're trying to do. So speaking of Grafana and Prometheus, and we were talking about Alert Manager. So then on the other side, on the logging side, then you have LOKI and Promtail. And I don't know what to tell you. I'm not good at their query language. I forget what the query language is called, but they have their own DSL for querying data, and I wish I could help. maybe ChatGPT or Llama can help. Usually pretty good at that kind of stuff, I found, especially technical stuff. When there's only a handful of answers, it's really good at that stuff. I wish I could help you. I haven't done it, but I understand what you're trying to do. You're probably just trying to see who's logging in to what server, and or if there are, any kind of, any kind of failures in SSH, and then to send an alert. I'm betting. Palace Games, thanks for the, that's what we were just talking about. Thanks for the info about the HDHomerun having 4 tuners in the one device. Yeah, gonna be a lot easier for my sister and my mom to be able to record stuff on their house when I got everything set up. Yeah, that's exactly right. Dude, Alex, thank you so much. Whoa, man. Popping in briefly, hugs for everyone, working on Crowd Down. Show love. Hey, dude, thank you. I appreciate it, Alex. Yeah, it stinks you got to work on that. Dude, thanks for the bits. I appreciate it. Dude, 1K bits. That was like my Aquaman Mega Man. That was Aqua Mega Man. I don't even know what to call it. But thanks for the bit, Alex. Appreciate it, dude. Good luck on getting everything back up and going. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I'm sure a lot of people have a busy day ahead of them, or have been having a busy day, and they're just like not even here either. So I feel you. It's crazy. It's crazy. And also just like happening, on a Friday. Like, couldn't it have happened on a Monday or Tuesday, not going into the weekend? So good luck, man. I appreciate the bits. Thank you so much. Thanks for popping in. But Palace, yeah. So going back, you were looking for a TV tuner to record TV, and you were mentioning that, hey, I had a video on doing that with Plex, and that you thought that my tuner could only do one at a time, but no, that tuner can do 4 at a time, and it's pretty awesome, and I love it, and I've been using it for years. And yeah, exactly that. Like, I think that's the one to get if that's what you're gonna do. Because I think you only have a few options. It's like 1, 2, or 4. So it's like, why not go 4? And like I was saying earlier, like even though I have 4 tuners and I could, record 4 things or watch 4 things or record 3 and watch 1, I don't think we've ever gone beyond 3 tuners. And that's usually because like 2 things are recording and we just so happen to start something else. But, with live TV stuff, we don't watch a lot of live TV, but we record a ton of it. So then it's like, if we ever want to watch it, it's there and we can fast forward right through commercials. So it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I'm very thankful too that nothing else happened, but usually I don't talk about politics in here, but yeah, it's a miracle that happened. There's so many things that lined up for him to survive that. It's insane. So I'm glad he's okay too. Denabime, the weather here has been great in Phoenix. It hasn't hit 120 yet. Yeah, it has in Nevada. So I saw in Las Vegas. I think it was Las Vegas. South Vegas is probably getting too toasty out there in that area. But man, it was 120 for like 3 days in a row. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And it's not even full summer yet. But stay cool, Denabime. 120 is like Sahara Desert or something like that. It is hot. 90, 2PE Gaming. Been tinkering with a mix of mini PCs running NixOS and K3S. Hey, that is awesome. That sounds like a great task for mini PCs, right? One, they can do most anything you want them to. They really can, unless you're like, hey, I want a gigantic NAS with tons of storage. You could even figure that out too. But I found that like mini PCs, even the cheapest, like a B-Link, whatever, N100 one, is like the perfect test machine because it's more than capable to do almost anything you want it to do and use it very little power. And you know what? If it's your test machine and you spent $150 on it and it's like brand new, modern, and works and it's really fast, it's like, I don't know. For me, it's like the perfect test machine. And so I got a couple of things coming too in my stack that you'll see in this mini rack. I'm a huge fan, especially for dedicated test machines. Like you've been testing out NixOS and K3S. It's great for that. It is so great for that. It's like like the specs you need to run either of those, are pretty low compared to what you get from any new mini PC nowadays. It's crazy. Palace also should have my first Home Assistant yellow set up later today. The last part is supposed to come in today. That is awesome. I keep thinking about like, should I just buy a Home Assistant yellow, buy the device? It's all in one. I don't have to deal with a lot of this madness. I could put all the hardware in there. But then I have a hard time, like, not using some of the infrastructure that I have. Like, hey, I have servers. I have ways to run containers, multiple ways to run containers, and I have things that are already on already. But I bet if I went to a, Home Assistant Yellow, or I bet if I put it this way, like, that is a great device, don't get me wrong. But if I went to a dedicated machine, it would be so much more stable for me. Because I like to do the whole shared, like, hosting, shared infrastructure stuff. And then, when I take stuff down, it takes stuff down. But that is awesome. I'd love to hear your experience. I know Jeff Kearling also has one. I'd love to hear more about it. How it goes over time. Got to get this one right. Vide it. I want to thank Alex. That's all. I can't pronounce the other way. For all his great tips on my storage design, thoughts on Discord. Hey, Vide it. Yeah, Alex is a great person. He's got a wealth of knowledge too. But I agree. Like, Discord is great. Alex is great. We got a great Discord. Plug for it. You should join if not. But appreciate it. Well, Alex, I'm sure Alex appreciates it too. Jay Greentree, the humidity sticky feeling is kicking my tail today for the first time I've been able to sit down. Ooh, yeah, that sounds bad. Like if it's so sticky that you can't sit down, that is bad. Yeah, I hate humidity. Like when I first moved here to Minnesota, I didn't have any air conditioning, and I was on the 3rd floor of a brick building. And on top of that, I had a leather couch. And it was like the worst. It was like the worst combination ever. I was on the 3rd floor, so the top of this brick apartment. The bricks would get so hot that like it would never cool down. Like it had great insulation. So if it was cold, it was going to stay cold. But if it was hot, it was going to stay hot for a long time. And then on top of that, I had a leather couch. I don't know why I had one. I got it super cheap. And I was like, this is the worst ever. Just sitting, like blowing hot air on myself, trying to watch TV. It's like, but I know that feeling. I know that feeling. Really, I'm really familiar with that. Munzie, hi. I'm working on rebuilding Tailscale exit routes. Exit route nodes, cool. pfSense was starting to show some random issues, so moving them to run on Debian. Also got Crowdstrike this weekend. I am tired. Well, Munzie, I'm glad you were already struck, and it's past tense because a lot of people are still dealing with it, and that stinks. But going back to Tailscale and exit routes, exit nodes, that is awesome. I need to do some more of that. I played around with. I've done basic Tailscale networking, and it is pure magic. Like, I get how it works, but to me, it's one of those things that just feel like magic. Like, oh, you installed it on a client, you initialize the client, it's working, you try to ping the client, it just magically works, and it's so awesome. But I think that's the next step for me is building, exit nodes. So rather than installing the client on a ton of things or having like one jump box to get to then do things, even though I think that's a good pattern, the exit node would be super nice. Would be super nice for sure. Especially in scenarios like, exactly what I was talking about, like a jump back scenario. Okay, well, instead of doing that, just have exit nodes. Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about exit nodes. Sorry. Exit nodes. Sorry. I was thinking of the I forgot what the other node's called. Anyways, exit nodes, you're basically saying, hey, like all of my traffic should exit this point, right? And so that is awesome too, especially if if you're doing something somewhere, but you want your traffic to exit a VM in the cloud, a VPC, yeah, awesome for sure. That stuff too. I don't know. Tailscale is pretty awesome. I'm a fan. I've only been using it for a little while, and especially the last couple of weeks, I'm really seeing like how powerful it is for sure. I keep going back and forth. Like, do I build a mesh network or do I keep building out my VPN stuff? But it's tough. It's tough when you have a lot of this stuff. Router nodes, thank you. Yeah, router nodes is what I was thinking, or basically routers. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I keep going back and forth on this. Like, okay, I have a lot of this infrastructure to where I don't need to do, mesh networking. But mesh networking with Tailscale is so easy. Like, why do I spend all this time doing it the other way? So it's tough. But why not both? That's kind of where I'm at. Why not both? And that's kind of what I've been doing lately, with some things. It all make a little more sense, hopefully, next week. Zero Sleep, happy weekend all. I agree. Mr. DJ Keck, big one. Working on adding my 2 Zima cubes to the network, one as a third Proxmox node and a backup TrueNAS VM, then HA, my main VMs, and the other just as a primary TrueNAS for the moment. I might virtualize it later. Also, turn my current, now old backup TrueNAS into a PBS, bare metal server. Also, just clean up and tidy all of my wiring, mount things neatly. Busy weekend, that might turn into 2 weekends. Busy. I hear you, but that's a fun busy. That is absolutely a fun busy. There's like a busy where it's like, geez, I got to do all these things. you're in the fun busy stage. I just bought like 3 brand new pieces of hardware. I got to do all this shuffling of, hardware, software, new roles for new things, and this old thing is now this thing, and I don't know. Personally, I love it. It sounds fun, especially when it's like I know what you mean by like it's a lot of work and it's busy, because it's like you had one thing doing one role, you buy a new piece of hardware, now you need to move all those roles to, it's like hand-me-downs, hand-me-downs. You hand me down that role to the other one, then you hand me down that role to the other one, and then the last one now doesn't even have a role, so you're like, okay, well, this will be the new bare metal PBS server. So yeah, I love doing that. I love doing that, but it does turn into a ton of work. But I know that feeling really well, because it's what happens every time I buy something new. Because I can't like let the last thing go. It's like I hand me down that role to every machine in my tiered approach, and then the last thing just does something new. So PC Geek, oh man, that is a big photo. Now you can finally see what it is. That was a long time ago. I've just never changed it. Sir Caffeine, how do you fund your builds? Yeah, that's tough. It depends. Yeah, this is a great question. It's kind of behind the curtains. Like, how do you fund your builds? To be honest, like a lot of the builds that I've done, it's going to be a combination of either like me purchasing it. That's number one. That's like I'm going to spend money on it, which I did spend a ton of money on this little build, and mainly because Raid Owl. I'm gonna send him an invoice. No, but it's usually I spend money. And then like sometimes some companies will send me devices for review, but that's not like, sometimes I just find places to fit those in. Those most of the time aren't the focus of my build in general. And then the other times it's just like stuff I have laying around here. A lot of times I just recycle a lot of the things that I have, because I have a ton of SSDs, because I bought a ton of SSDs for like my old server, and then I moved them to a new server. And now I have a couple of extras. So I'll kind of move those SSDs around. But for the most part, like I'm pretty, like I haven't built like a full build in a while. It's kind of just swapping parts all around or finding roles for my new stuff. Like my HL15, that was from 45 drives. They gave that to me for review. And, I've been tearing it apart, building it back up, tearing it apart, but I bought all the hard drives that went in there, which are, you can imagine how much 14 terabyte drives cost. Not cheap, not cheap. And then when I wanted to put all SSDs into it for another project, I bought 6 1 terabyte SSDs. Also not cheap. So yeah, it's kind of tough. Like, being like creating tech content, it's always going to be a combination of, it's going to be maybe part of the bill gets sponsored, or it's parts that you're going to review, so you kind of maybe get a discount there, right? Like it's not money out of your hands, but you still got to do work for it. And then you buy all the things to supplement that thing, which usually turns out to be more than whatever it is you're going to review anyways. And then it's old parts and, putting it together. And then, that money usually comes from, for me working. So yeah, it's tough. It's always hard to balance. Like I never go into something think like, oh, this video, I hope I make money on this video, or I hope I at least break even on this video. Cause it's hard to gauge that ever. But, a lot of times I'll say like, I'm not going to spend more than a couple $100 to like put this thing together. But as you see, like, when I had to build, buy 12, I think I had 14 terabyte drives or 6 SSDs that ended up costing, I don't know, $650 or something like that. It kind of stinks. But, yeah, it stinks. I'll say it like that. But I get a lot of use out of my stuff, because I'll reuse stuff for other videos. Like I'm not shy. Like I don't buy new things for every video. Like that's not something I, want to do or want to afford. That's a lot of money. But yeah, it's a combination of all of that. I wish I had a better answer, but a lot of times it's my money that I made, obviously income that I reinvest my income back into this stuff. That's what I like to tell myself, right? I'm just reinvesting. But at the end of the day, I'm just I'm buying stuff to build stuff, you know. And it's hard when you're into tech content. I'm sure there are other channels that run into the same thing. Like, you know, their channel, their hobby became their channel, and now it's kind of hard to separate the two. And you know, where you know, do you draw the line on budgets for things? Like, I don't have any budget for any video. I just buy what I need. And you know, but the nice part on the opposite end, like I'm relatively frugal, I would say. I appreciate a good value, so like I'm gonna get the best deal for the thing that I'm getting. So it's like, if you think of my business, it's like good that I'm thinking about it like that. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to explain. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, it's everything. PC Geek, I still drink Kool-Aid. Switched to it from soda as a better alternative. Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Kool-Aid. I loved it. Oh man, yeah, so many fond memories of Kool-Aid. So many fond memories. I remember we had this pitcher too, full of Kool-Aid points, and I don't know if you remember the Kool-Aid points, but they had 1 point, 5 points, 10 points in the back of packets. We sent it in, and we got the Kool-Aid pitcher, and I think my mom still has it. It's like all stained from iced tea and stuff, but it is awesome. It is awesome. Anyways, yeah, I grew up on Kool-Aid like that. You know, I only later did I realize that like putting a full cup of sugar into 2 quarts of water was, you know, kind of a lot of sugar. But you know, it was the 90s. Like, who cared about that stuff? You know, obviously not me. But yeah, Zero Sleep. My weekend plans: reorg my gaming desk, battle station setup, cable management, attic. All right, that is a good addiction to have. That is a good addiction to have. I think it is. Hopefully play some Cyberpunk once I'm finished. Well, it depends on how far on the spectrum you are on the cable management, if you'll get any game playing done. I think that's good. I think it's good that you are addicted to managing cables. I get into phases where I am, and well, let me put it this way. The first time I do anything, I go crazy on cable management. It's the maintenance that I don't like later on, like what's going on my desk right now, or what's going on back there. Like, it's like if I do stuff from scratch, yeah, I do a great job. It's just hard, like when it comes to like switching stuff out. Like, I haven't found like a way to manage stuff in a way that like pulling one thing out doesn't like, you know, pull the thread all the way out of the sweater type thing. But yeah, hope you enjoy it. I want to see photos. I like to see other people's, like how they manage you know, cabling challenges altogether, because I get lots of ideas. Palace, well, maybe I'm wrong. Got a notification that the last part was delivered to my mailbox. Walked out and checked it. It's not there. Oh yeah, so yeah, yeah, not fun. It's fun because like Amazon, I think yeah, the other day Amazon, this has happened to me 3 times now, where I'm supposed to get something delivered. Then I get a notification from Amazon saying it's delayed. It'll be there tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, that stinks, you know, whatever. And then 20 minutes later, it's on my door and it says it's delivered. I don't know if someone's in there like pushing the wrong buttons, or maybe they hand off a package to someone else and it's like, well, I don't know if we'll get to it today, and then they do. I don't know. Either way, happens to me a lot with Amazon, where they say it's not going to be delivered, and then it shows up on my doorstep 20 minutes later. So I hope it does for you. I hope it does for you. Maffney, happy Saturday. Good to see you. If it's Amazon, they do that. Sometimes they mark a bunch of stuff delivered ahead of time. Oh, okay. Mine is like they mark it as like it's going to be delayed, and then it really isn't delayed. It just like gets my blood pressure up like 2 times, because then I'm like, well, what the heck? You just delivered it to my house. Sir Cafe, hey, I'm more of a root beer guy. Funny you say that. I was at Target today, and I'm standing in the aisle like this, looking at A&W root beer for about 30 seconds, and I was like, should I get it? That sounds so good. So anyways, yeah, Sir Caffeine, I'm right there with you. I like root beer too. I mean, it's a great summertime like soda. Like nothing says summertime like root beer to me, because it just reminds me of going to like, you know, root beer stands, you know, which were really just like drive up kind of burger joints, you know, and you'd get a burger and fries and you get some root beer, and it was just like, oh man, Good old days. A lot of nostalgia today. Local brew pub serves orange creamsicle. All right, inspired by beer on nitro. It's way too good. Zero sleep. That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. So orange creamsicle. I like it. Yeah, we have some breweries around here that like brew beer, but they also brew root beer for NA. And I thought that was awesome. They do that around here, which is cool. And the funny thing is, like, the root beer is more expensive than the beer. But like pony kegs of it are I think they're like 40 or 50 bucks. Like it's like pretty expensive, but it's pretty good stuff. It's I all this talk about root beer, I gotta have root beer tonight because it sounds good. Like nothing to me screams summer like fireworks, burgers, and root beer. It's actually UPS attempting to deliver a new Home Assistant Yellow. All right, case spot 'em because you've lost yours. Yeah, it happens. It happens for sure. It was sent to you by Nabukasa. Yeah, that's the parent company of Home Assistant, or the company that owns the Home Assistant. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. I like I was saying, I should get one at some point. I have a hard time buying individual devices when I have infrastructure here. I drink slowly over time. I'm not. I'm a chugger for sure. I'm a chugger. I'm just like. We call them stubby holders because it fits a bottle of beer, and we call those stubbies. Hey, Mr. DJ Keck, so you call these stubby holders? Yeah, I like it. I'll call it that. I didn't know beers were called stubby. I'm not drinking beer, but I didn't know beers were called stubbies. I like it. I like it. I've always got a glass of something at my desk, or a can. I do too. If I don't, I go find it. If I don't, I go find it for sure. DGD Gabodi. I am the same regard, but especially when I have to spend a lot of my time at the desk, I have too much access to water. Yeah, recently approached the 8-liter on one day, so now I'm restricting myself, starting to get unhealthy. I always wondered that too, like, is there, I'm sure there's such thing as too much water. I feel like we have to be the most like hydrated like generation of all time. Like seriously, like we have. I mean, everyone I know has at least 10 water bottles. I mean, you just have them in your cupboard. Sure, you have your favorite. People fill them up all the time. Water's everywhere. Everyone's saying stay hydrated, and like, it wasn't like this, 10, 20 years ago. But I agree. I drink a lot of water too, and it's like this weird thing where like. It's weird because like, I drink a lot of water, which makes me go to the bathroom. And then when I go to the bathroom, I just fill up my water jug, and then it's that all day. Well, even more so when I used to work in the office, that was like, that was my routine every half hour. Cause I was drinking, I was drinking an Nalgene full of water. I was drinking like 2 of these before lunch and 2 or 3 after lunch. And that's a lot of water. But yeah, it's, I feel like maybe I might be a little bit unhealthy for me too. But the thing is, like, if I don't drink enough, I get headaches. Like I'll wake up in the morning and it feels like I have a hangover, and I didn't drink because I don't drink, but it feels like I have a headache because I didn't get enough water. For some reason, I feel like I have to have a lot of water. I don't know. Sup nerds, Bill Nash, how's it going? Sup nerds? I was going to do it again. Freedom DAO. I like Docker. I like Docker in. I gave a follow. Oh, I like Docker and I give. All right. Thank you. Yeah. We talk about Docker stuff here too. It would be cool to hook up the lights to your current vibe. Like when you're vibing hard and it's bright yellow, or when I'm sad, it's dark purple. Hey, I like that. So this was going back to the lights in here and how you can control them, with points. And, I think I could rig them up to music. To my feelings, I think I could. I mean, if it was feelings, I mean, I could do this right here. Like if I'm feeling, I don't know, happy, maybe I would do the green. I don't know. Or if I'm feeling sad, this wouldn't be sad because this is my favorite one. The Tokyo Nights is my favorite. But yeah, I could. And like you would join the stream and be like, oh, why is he so sad? It's so purple in there. I don't know. I think I was in dark mode. I don't know what I was in, so I think that was it. Dark mode's not a full dark mode. It's pretty close, but not a full. Because I got to have some lights on in here. Otherwise, it would be really weird. Yeah, welcome to the stream where Tim takes 5 minutes to figure out your name. I know. I need to be better at that. Like, I need to be better at that. Like, I see a lot of streamers, like, mispronounce someone's name, and I know that they know it in their head, but they're not going to spend time on it. They're like, that is way too hard to pronounce, so I'm just going to say something and I'm going to get over it. For some reason, my brain just does not let me get over it. I like have to try to pronounce it once, at least kind of right, so that the next time my brain doesn't have to figure it out again. I think it's that. It's more of an optimization thing where it's like, okay, even if I get it wrong, I'll know what to say next time, you know? I'll know what to say next time. So, Denabime, do you have any experience with... Oh, we talked about that. Mr. DJ Keg, you should be able to just press a button and have all the things turn on when you need to stream. That is true. That is true. I'm now in a position where I can because of Home Assistant. Yeah, I could, because I would just rig up those couple of things back there that are... yeah, I could. I totally could. I need a stream button. You're exactly right. I have Home Assistant. There's no excuse. Now I need to write a ton of code to do it. But it should be easier than that with Home Assistant, right? That's the kind of the promise of Home Assistant is that you have these rich integrations without having to write a ton of code. Maybe YAML, but I totally should. I totally should. Big Blue Blade, are you managing your firewall using Terraform? I'm not. I'm doing very little in Terraform, like at home, right? At home. I did a ton of stuff for Terraform in the cloud. At home, it's just tough. It's tough just because of how Terraform works, right? Terraform is kind of like desired state and keep your state somewhere else. And then so if you have state drift, if I ever did something in the UI, then I would have to either sync up state, reset state, and do it all over again. So it's like, I don't know. It's tough for me to buy into doing Terraform at home for my home stuff when I also do things via the UI. So I don't know. I've thought about it for Pi-hole. That's the one case where I'm like, yeah, it'd be awesome to do Pi-hole, with Terraform, because there's, it'd be pretty easy to do. With my firewall, I get kind of scared. And then at the same time, like, I do use the UI a lot in the firewall. And so I'd have to reset state and sync state up all the time. So I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Terraform for a lot of stuff, especially cloud stuff. Like, it's so mature when it comes to cloud stuff. When it comes to like one-off stuff, like my UDM Pro, that's where I'm kind of like, oh, I don't have like a QA version of my UDM Pro. Of course I have backups and stuff like that. Maybe I should. It's just kind of scares me. And then, like I was saying, I do a ton of stuff through the UI for my UDM Pro. Would I love to not? Yeah, that would be awesome. It would be awesome. And then, yeah, Terraform is absolutely the way to go. I just have to tell myself, like, I have to live in Terraform world now, and I can't touch the UI, which is kind of tough. Like, if I have to change something from my mobile device really quick, then I'll have to remember, the next time I run Terraform to pull down and reset my state first, or I'm going to overwrite all of those changes. One of the reasons why I just like Terraform to me is like, I don't know, like I totally get it, but I kind of like the Ansible way where it will inspect your state ahead of time and you tell it its desired state, and you don't have to have a big state somewhere else. So yeah, but no, I should at least try it and do it. Not saying it's wrong. It's just not how I want to manage my UDM Pro right now, but maybe in the future. Slow. Denabime, I think at the moment I'm just going to Ansible hack the Docker install to point at something direct. Oh yeah. So going back to netboot XYZ. Yeah, you can. Like, they have documentation. They have documentation on how to customize that menu. That's the path I was going down. As far as caching, like, you could solve this. You could solve this outside of it, right? If you had a LAN cache or something. Well, it's going to be over SSL, so I don't know. Never mind. Unless unless those images are over HTTP, I was going to say, oh, you could just set up a universal cache like LAN cache, and then it would just be cached there, and you would always hit cache and just tell it not to grab it from GitHub. But yeah, that's probably over HTTPS. So yeah, they have documentation on customizing that menu. It's a little sparse, so that's why I was thinking about at some point maybe doing a part 2 to it, because I want to do exactly what I think you're wanting to do, which is just have your images local, right? Not pull them from the internet. CBP Pilot, any ideas why TrueNAS would have slow ls commands? Oh, over SSL VPN. When I'm internal, PowerShell, measure command ls, gives me 200 milliseconds, but over BPM, it's 5.8 seconds. And when you open the Window Explorer, it takes about 6 seconds to load 707 files. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, that sounds, well, I was going to say it's metadata. But if you do it local, then it's not metadata. I don't know. Yeah, I think it is Windows is the problem. I think, well, not Windows itself, but just SMB, maybe in general. And maybe it is. Maybe it is if you're doing it over PowerShell. I mean, you should try it over, I don't know. But you're SSH'd into it, I would assume. Oh, you're doing it over PowerShell, which it's like, so I assume you're shelling in with PowerShell. I don't know. I was going to say, yeah, I mean, you could try it from Linux and see. I was going to point to something like, hey, it's your metadata, or you have tons of files, or like your ZFS, like, something with your pool being too full, but you're saying local, it just works fine. So, oh, that's tough. I was going to say yeah, it's tough. So I mean, it has to be something to do with the VPN plus SMB, I'm assuming. So I don't know. I'll try it. I'll try it myself too. I've never really looked at it. It's SMB. You'll see my reply in a moment. All right, PC Geek. That's what. At least I was on track this time. He keeps me honest, and then some. ML AI is hot. Made 3 offers and all were declined. Wait, ML AI is hot. I made 3 offers. Oh, and all were declined. You got 3. The way I'm reading this is that you got 3 job offers and you declined them all because like you're waiting for something better. That's how I'm reading that, Big Blue Blade. I'm not sure. That's what I want to believe. Well, that is awesome. I don't know enough about AI and ML. Like I play with it and I've done some ML stuff, but it's always using other people's stuff. I should learn more about it. Oh yeah, no, as a hiring manager. All right. So made 3 offers and all were declined. Gotcha. So you were hiring. You were trying to recruit that talent. Yeah, I bet it is hot. I bet it is a seller's market. I don't know who the seller and buyer is, but when it comes to that, yeah, absolutely. They can almost pick where they wanted to work, to a certain extent. Like a lot of gigantic companies are going to have that talent already, but if you're seeking that talent and you're a big company who didn't have that talent, or you're a medium-sized company who doesn't have that talent, yeah, you're going to have to pay for that. Yeah, that's tough. That is tough for sure. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, it's again going back to it. I haven't done a ton of like I've run ML tools, I've run AI tools. I kind of get how it works and training stuff, but haven't like actually written anything myself. So I need to at some point. How much you guys paying? I'm looking for a job. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Well, good luck trying to recruit. Yeah, I bet that's so tough. I bet it's so, like talent in general is kind of, well, I'll say this, like software development talent is kind of hard to hire. And it's always been kind of hard to hire. Because at first, like you're competing. I mean, if you're not Silicon Valley, you're competing with Silicon Valley. If you are Silicon Valley, you're still also competing with Silicon Valley talent, And then like, depending on your location, if you're in Midwest, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Like if you want someone to be physically there, hey, come to, wherever, Midwest USA, that's always a tough one. Cause I've been in a lot of hiring scenarios too. And it's like, we had to go through all of this or you get the people who, are just like trying to get an interview to see what the offer is. So they know what to tell other people what the offer or what to offer them. So it's tough, but hiring software engineering has always been tough because there's so much need for it. And I thought that like with this kind of slowdown of everything the last year that hiring would have been better, but I still think it's still tough. No matter what skill you're hiring for, I think it's software development. There's just not enough people to do the job. So about the MLMI, you're going to have to offer 2 as the first digit. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. 2.5 mil? No, I know what you're saying. 200. Yeah, it's, I mean, depending on where you are in the country, I mean, some people are paying that for, senior software devs. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I feel your pain because I've been on that side of recruiting too. And just getting talent, that you want is tough for sure. It is. Denabime, I put a fake job on my resume working at my home lab and listing all the projects I've been doing lately, which is a bunch. Hey, I wouldn't call that a fake job. It depends. It depends. Like, hey, was it your occupation? Maybe it was you could say it was a home lab sabbatical where you were learning about all these new technologies. You got to frame it up. Fake job just sounds like you're making it up, but you really did this stuff. So you got to say, I took a sabbatical to learn more about, technology, and I did this by building this stack at home. But that is awesome. I think you should. You should list that stuff on your resume for many reasons, even if you list it as hobbies, because keyword searches, you need to come up in people's searches. And if you're holding back on some of the things you do in HomeLab because you think, it's just a hobby, I shouldn't list it. List it create your own section called hobbies and talk all about it because that'll help boost your resume probably with SEO for sure. Sabbatical. I like it. HomeLab sabbatical. I'm on a HomeLab sabbatical right now. Palace Games. I feel that lack of motivation too. My rack has been sitting there for months waiting for me to put it together. I just need to set aside 4 or 5 hours one day and knock it out. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. Like putting together a server rack is no joke. I've done it. I've done it like in my home. I've done it 3 times now. 2 or 3. I don't know. I think 3 because I went from 3. It takes a long time to get it going. Like you think you're going to get this server rack and you're going to put it together. You may as well start in the morning. Don't start late afternoon because you'll be doing it all night long. Like it takes so long to do. And but yeah, and then on top of that's just the beginning. So I totally get how you could totally, have this lack of motivation. Lack of motivation to get started because like once you start that's just the beginning. Like that's the end of the very beginning, right? Because then you got to put. I know. I knew as soon as I said that someone was going to say something. But yeah. Anyway, that's the end of the beginning, and it just starts there. And then you get into racking servers and putting stuff together, networking, cable management, and it's a lot of work. So I totally get it. I've always noticed too that a lot of people just take a break from like HomeLabbing during the summer. During the summer, and I sometimes I attribute some of that to, hey, it's the summer. There's things outdoors we need to do, which very very little. I do outdoors during the summer. I mean, I'm mostly a normal human being. I like mow the lawn. Not as much as I probably should. Take care of the plants, feed the birds, like all that kind of stuff. But like, I don't have a lot of hobbies that are just like, yeah, I'm outside. This is like, I'm a normal human being. I have hobbies outside. I don't. The only thing close to that is walking the dogs, and I do like hiking. But it needs to be somewhere scenic to be able to do it, because otherwise I'm just like, hey, I'm just walking. Anyways, but I've also noticed that a lot of people just don't do it during the summer because heat, because of whatever, and I think there's just other things to do. I will say, though, the one hobby I like doing, I really love doing outdoors, is fishing, and I don't get to do it enough. I got to do it a couple weeks ago with one of my buddies, and man, it was so fun. Like, anyways, it's one of the few things where I'm just like, yeah, this is great. So get me out on water, yeah, for sure. Even just like cruising around on a boat, it's fun, or paddle around in one. I love it. Besides that, I don't do much outside, and I rarely get to do that either. Anyways, but I could totally get how you don't have motivation to be inside during the summer. I totally get it. Windows SMB file sharing over VPN. Yeah, it's just not meant to work very well at all. It is not the proper protocol for it. Yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking too. There's just too much. It's like too chatty, and because it's so chatty, if you add overhead to all of those chats, it adds up to a lot of time. That's kind of where I was going too. I thought it was going to be SMB, chatty. Yeah, it needs low latency. There you go. Hi, your summer's my winter. All right, so that's what I need to do, Mr. DJ Keck. I need to go to the Southern Hemisphere. I'm going to assume Australia. I need to go to the Southern Hemisphere during the summer and then come back up here for actually I would do fall. I would do wow, that doesn't work. Only if we went from spring to, if we went kind of backwards. I don't know. Spring and fall are definitely my favorite seasons. But I'll take winter too, as long as there's not a lot of snow, and I'll totally take it. I totally get that. When I get stuck on something, I work on something else. Where something else that I can get a win on. I hear you too. That's always good too. Take a break, do something you can accomplish, in an hour, and then or whatever. If you have a task list, grab something off there that's pretty easy, and get that off the list, because then that's one less thing to worry about later on. Exactly. I've done several other things over putting together the rack. Yeah, it's a lot of people. Yeah, I hear you. But you got to remember, it's not your job for the most part to put a server rack together at home. You bought it because you wanted it. You bought it because you maybe wanted to have fun. It was this hobby and this fun thing you were going to do sometime. So don't do it until it feels fun. I know it's easy to say, but this is your free time. You probably have a day job. So don't do it until it feels fun for you. That's what I say. That's what I say. Fahad, AB. Yo, Tim, that's interesting that you are using K8s for personal projects. I always thought it was mainly used for large-scale deployment with lots of containers. I would really love to hear some insights on your personal opinion. I'm just curious. I want an excuse to learn K8s and finally Docker or Podman. Wow. I've kind of gone full circle on this. I think I've gone full circle at least twice on this. But yes, I do run Kubernetes at home. I have technically four. I have 3 clusters. I might as well just say it that way. It's easier because the other one's kind of weird. But I have 3 clusters. I manage some workloads in my colo, which is basically my servers that I brought from my home lab in the cloud. And those are there. Hey, what's going on? Dude, Big Blue Blade. Thanks for the tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. 6 months, half a year. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. But yeah, so I've done a ton of Kubernetes stuff, whether it's at home, it's in my colo, which is still kind of my home stuff because it used to be here, work. And there are good fits for Kubernetes and there are not so good fits for Kubernetes. I've been guilty of putting not so good fits in Kubernetes because I like the tooling and the management around Kubernetes. It makes managing those things easier, but there are so many more moving parts that it makes it a lot more complex. And so when you have problems, you have more things to troubleshoot and to diagnose and to look at. And if you're not used to Kubernetes, those things aren't obvious. Like you would think, how do I look at the logs? That's a fair question. If you've never used Kubernetes and something's going wrong, you have no idea where to look unless you're kind of familiar with it. With Docker kind of could be the same. You wouldn't know to run Docker logs unless someone told you. But I guess that could be the same on a VM. Where would you look? In the journal, where would you look? But anyways, it definitely is fun to play with. If you have services that you depend on at home and they're running in a VM or running in containers only already, I would say stand up Kubernetes or stand up containers to play with. And don't move your home production stuff into there just yet. I'd say stand up, I was talking earlier, how mini PCs are a great test machine. If you already have a server infrastructure and you have Proximus running, create a VM and play around with it. I would say go that route before you move stuff there and just figure out if that's how you want to manage your services, right? Because you manage them in a much different way. on Kubernetes especially. How do you deploy them? Well, you create a deployment, or then you use Helm and you use Helm charts, and how do you debug it? How do you troubleshoot it? How do you expose services? You do it through load balancers, maybe, and so it's kind of a different paradigm. And so I think you just got to decide how you want to manage your services at home. If it's just for learning, yeah, go for it for sure. Like I don't think any time spent on Kubernetes is time wasted, because it's just so prevalent, like throughout everywhere. I think every Fortune 500 company is using it somewhere somehow. So it's pretty big. There's a huge community behind it, and there's a lot of knowledge behind it too. There are tons of people who can help you learn stuff, like Tech with Nana. If you just want to sit down for 8 hours, no, you want to sit down for an hour, and you want to get a high level of Kubernetes. Yeah, Tech with Nana has a great video on it, and you'll kind of get the basics. And then if you want to dive deeper into some of those topics, she has those too. Great teacher, and great visualizations to go with it. So, but I would say, yeah, I mean, go for it. If you're going from VMs to, straight to Kubernetes, I think that Docker might be a good, kind of speed bump to at least run it once, kind of understand how containers work when you spin them up, what's going on, how do you stop them, what are they, I think that's a good thing to learn too. But if you're going straight for Kubernetes, then go for it. It's I'm not gonna lie, it's tough. It is tough, and I wish it were easier. I wish there was an easier way to manage it, because there is some tooling. I think you mentioned Denabime mentioned Rancher. Yeah, Rancher is great tooling. So there is great tooling around it too for UIs. It abstracts a lot. Well, shouldn't say it abstracts a lot, because a lot of that tooling actually says what the thing is. Like, hey, I want to create an ingress. Well, you're creating an ingress, but that doesn't help you understand what an ingress is. And so when I first started learning, I would create something in the CLI, and then I would go in the UI and see, what the heck did I just create, and how does it fit in here? And so that's how it helped me in the beginning, because there's not a lot of great visual tools for Kubernetes. Like, someone can whiteboard it out for you, and someone could teach you it. But when you're in the thick of it, there's no great way to discover these kind of objects unless you know all of the CLI commands to get those out. And if you don't even know that those objects exist, you don't know the CLI to get those things out. So yes, there are things like Rancher, like Lens, and I think, Portainer, that can help you manage Kubernetes, but also that can help you visualize Kubernetes. And I think that was big for me. Like, I'm creating a replica set, and a deployment, and then I'm going to replace that replica set with a new version and see the new deployment roll out. Or I'm creating a load balancer, or an ingress, or storage, and for me it was super helpful to be able to do that in the CLI and then see that reflected in the UI and kind of piece that together and say, oh, that's how it works. A service is tied to a deployment. Right? And then you need an ingress to expose that service. So that's how I learned a lot of it. Like, people told me how to do Kubernetes, but I never really learned it until I could, get my hands on the CLI and kind of explore. So yeah, there's a lot going on in there. Yeah, I agree, Big Blue Blade. Kubernetes is transferable to a majority of large tech companies. Most Gen Zs learn from YouTubers like, oh, for me. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Sorry and thank you. And I apologize if I led people astray. But yeah, I agree that it's a great skill to learn, because if you go to a company and they're already using it, then you're like, sweet, I understand what you're talking about. But if you get to that company and you've never used it before and they're talking about these things, then you feel like, okay, well, you might be too embarrassed to ask what those things are. You might not say anything, or you might just then have a lot of studying to do on your own to kind of get caught up. So I think the earlier you could kind of play with it and just understand it high level, I think is great. And I said it's really complicated, and I said it's hard to learn, but at the end of the day, it's built on some of the same foundational things that you're already using or doing, right? Take out containers, unless you've done Docker before, but your creating a service, DNS. You're basically doing internal DNS. And then you're creating an ingress. Well, that ingress is kind of like a load balancer to get into those pods. So basically, when you create a replica set, you're creating in a deployment, you're creating multiple pods, maybe, of these services. Then you're creating a service in Kubernetes, which is your DNS, which tells everyone how to get to that thing. And then the way that they get in is an ingress, which is kind of like a load balancer. And the same goes for storage, the same goes for compute, the same goes for RAM. So a lot of it's transferable. You just have to do it a couple times so that you're like, oh, okay, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, ingress, yep, that's a load balancer. I totally get it. So anyways, there's a lot there to unpack, but it's anytime you talk about Kubernetes, I'm gonna talk for 10 extra minutes. So and I'm going over time, and I kind of want to make sure that I address things where people have maybe mentioned me directly. And I see that one. I just want to kind of scroll up because I hate to end by just saying hey, I'm gonna look for one and then not one find one. Now I'm just saying all kinds of stuff. I'm just clicking on this. I was right here. Techno Tim, I drill holes in my desk for cable management. So pretty far on the spectrum. The zero sleep, I like that. I like it because I wouldn't. For some reason in my brain, I'm just I can't do it. My wife's been asking me to drill a hole in our banister on the fireplace. I don't want to say this too loud because she's going to be like, can you do it again? Probably. But I there's something about there is no undo, right? There is no undo once you drill something. And so I'm always pretty hesitant to drill stuff, even holes in a wall. I don't know why. We'll get 3M sticky stuff, and I'm just I don't know. I'm so scared to do it. Yeah, wood putty and paint. I agree. But if you're doing a grommet, that's where I kind of get the banister of a fireplace, it's probably, 100-year-old wood. So anyways, I think I'll end up doing it at some point because it just makes sense. Yeah, I'm more of a measure once, cut 3 times, and then realize it's too big or too small. I'm bad at that. But at some day, so anyways, I would love to do what you do, the zero sleep. I think that's absolutely the right thing to do, and you should enjoy it. For some reason in my head, I'm I can't go there cutting holes and stuff. I'm so bad at something in my head is just don't cut holes and don't put holes in the wall. I don't know. My parents probably beat it into me when I was younger with my room, about posters and stuff like that. But no, I agree. Maybe you're convincing me to do it. Cause if you cut a hole, then you can get one of those grommet things and you put those in there and then you have a great place to run cables. So I don't know. Yeah, your dad was like that. My dad was like that too. There was 0 holes in the wall. I couldn't even put a poster up with the tack, or he was like, "Is that a hole in the wall?" So for me, it was a lot of Scotch tape, taping up my Nintendo Power posters everywhere. Then I realized there was putty, and I didn't have to destroy my posters, but it was already too late for that. So yeah. Lots of Nintendo Power posters hanging up when I was younger. So, anyways, yeah, it's. I hope you figure it out, and you'll have to let me know. I want to see this when it's done. If you're, you should post it in Discord because I want to see this job when it's done. So that is awesome. I should consult with you before I do mine. Got to just pump me up to cut a hole in some wood because I get kind of scared. So, anyways, hey everyone, thank you so much for we talked about that and I accidentally clicked on it. Thanks so much for joining in today. I appreciate you coming here on a Saturday. Went a little bit over, but I was a little bit late. But I realized that there's a lot of comments. I tried to look for ones that were mentioning me as I was scrolling through. I didn't see any. If you have something you want to share, something you want to ping me on, absolutely feel free to do it. You can ping me in Discord or on Twitter. Totally fine. Fair game. If you do it in Discord, I'll probably see it sooner and reply and have a longer conversation than I could on Twitter. But if you haven't joined Discord, you should. Yeah, thank you, Piece of Geek. It's pretty chill, pretty laid back, all about tech and some random gifts all the time and some weird food channel that I love to look at. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty awesome. Typically not things you would eat, but things related to food. I'll put it that way. And And then we're very close to 10,000 members, and I would really appreciate it if you join too. Super low ping, low pressure, a lot of smart people. Like I said, if you have something you want to share and you want to ping me on it, yeah, you can ping me there. Oh yeah, Takano's internet, yeah, connected receipt printer, yeah, Takano, where was he? Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so someone who's usually in the channel, and definitely in Discord and definitely in here, created a receipt printer that anyone from the internet could print a receipt to. And so we were sending all kinds of stuff to his printer. Anyways, that's in Discord too. So if you want to send Takano a message from his internet connected receipt printer, you absolutely can. I love it. I love it. I tried to send emojis. I think I might have broke it, but anyways, I'd love for you to join. I will be back here next Saturday. I know I said this week I would probably have Raid Owl. A lot of you might not remember. I think Raid Owl is going to join next Saturday because I will have my video out on my mini rack that's right there flashing pretty back there because I will have it out this week and then we'll kind of be able to talk about it. So if all goes well, he's going to be on the stream next week. So yeah, thank you. Oh yeah, back. This is the happy mood lights. But yeah, Raid Owl will be joining us until further notice. I'm just going to say that. He's going to join us because I'll have this video out and then we'll be able to kind of razz each other about each other's build. Hopefully. But other than that, I'll have something out. Be good and take care. Oh, real quick. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for the bits. Thanks for the subs, resubs. Really appreciate it. Sometimes I forget to say it, even though I say it when it pops up. Really appreciate it. Never, ever expected, but I appreciate it. And thanks for all the chats. That's if you guys weren't chatting here, it'd be a super short stream. A pretty awkward one too. So I appreciate you being here and chatting. So gives me tons of ideas and makes me laugh too. And I need more laughter because my sense of humor is usually pretty dry. So anyways, have a good weekend. Take care and be good to each other. Take care, folks.